This is episode 341 on the 22nd of March 2021. Once upon a time in 2003, a 19-year-old from Gujarat, in fact from Baroda, Gujarat, rekindled hopes of millions of fans by being the all-rounder that was needed. A lot of fringe players had come and gone and they had miserably failed. This kid began with a bang, a hat trick in 2006, part of the World Cup winning team in 2007. In fact, this player was the player of the match in the finals. Things were looking good. He was that all rounder that was desperately needed. Could open the bowling, could open the batting, could be the pinch hitter, could come at number 7, number 8. He was flexible. He had played over 40 matches, over 100 one-day matches, and he had become an overnight sensation. But as it happens with baby faces, injuries began to threaten and shorten his career. The period between 2010 to 2013, he was no longer the permanent member, no longer the favorite darling of the pseudo media and the other media. The selectors, the captain, the team management lost faith because he was not keeping up with the fitness. Everyone was criticizing that he was not able to keep up with the hype and keep up with the fitness levels. His brother began hogging the limelight, and a promising career was almost going up in flames, and it ended with a crash. It did not have the hype that it began with. In 2016, history repeated itself. Another 22.5-year-old from the same state was the all-rounder, and it got the fanatics jumping again. It was a moment of deja vu. He once again lit up the fans, the pseudo critics, the pseudo experts, the pseudo media, the other media. Everyone was saying, finally, we have got an all-rounder again. He can be the answer to so many of the team's problems. Open the batting, open the bowling, be the pinch hitter, quick runs, bowl long overs, and also be the sixth or the seventh bowler if the team needs. All this was being discussed once again. But then this player got himself mixed up in controversies. We all know what the controversy was. Injuries got the better of him, but better sense prevailed and the mistakes of the past weren't repeated. Though, thanks to pseudo media, the 2016 guy had luck going with his way. So, who was the 2003 19-year-old kid and who was the 2016 22.5-year-old kid? Well, I will leave that to the intelligence of my listeners. They can do some research work and then you can send me a message that the one in 2003, remember, both are from Baroda in Gujarat, both are all-rounders. Even their brothers are also part of the team, so they are a brother pair. So yes, you can send me a message who were these two all-rounders. But before we go further, let's take a short break. welcome back after the break. So while the 2003 baby-faced all-rounder was literally screwed upon, the 2016 baby-face still has a bit of luck going. So what surprises me is this charade of New India. What does young India, new India mean in this context? Because every 15 years a young 18, 19-year old comes into the team, so there is no concept of new India. New India was when the country got independence. Then the country started winning matches, football, hockey, cricket, others. So what is this new India? It baffles me. This is a charade. There is no new India. It is relative. So let's not get caught up in this hype. But what my experience says is that I would still not be excited about the current all rounder. Remember, if he doesn't perform, if the pseudo selectors and the selection committee, which is anyways full of inexperienced duds, if they get tired of him and because they themselves could not perform at the highest level, they may say, if we could not perform, then how can we allow this player to continue? They may dump him. So let's not get carried away right now. But before we go further, let's take a short break. While the 20 over World Championship is 6 months away, and remember, anything can happen in that time, an important milestone of India's most beloved talk show is only 3 weeks from today. That is on the 12th of April 2021. This beloved talk show will celebrate its 350th episode, and the celebration will make the most overhyped celebrity envious. But we shall put a hold on that right now. Still a long way to go. And now it's time for us to discuss the one day international tournament. After the success of the test and the 20 over tournament, here comes a format which is like being caught between the rock and the hard place, because if you will listen to the interview of the players, they will reiterate that for 2021 the World Test Championship final, or the final of the Test World Cup, and the 20 over World Championship are firm on their minds. And remember, the 50 over World Cup is still 2 years away, and anything can happen in 2 years, forget 6 months. So this format is like being caught between the rock and the hard place. There is a Hindi proverb for that as well. Dhobi ka katta, na ghar ka, na ghat ka. But before we go further, let's take a short break. Let's look at the ODI team selected. It's a bizarre and poor selection. Deserving players have not been given a chance, while fringe players still continue to be lucky. So let's look at the team. Kohli, Rohit, perfect. Dhawan, questionable. Shubman Gill, yes. Shreyas Iyer, yes. Surya Kumar Yadav, definitely. Hardik Pandya, fitness. Rishabh Pant, perfect. Rahul, perfect. Chahal, Kuldeep, Kunal Pandya, yes. Surprise, I told you there's a brother combination here. Washington Sundar, yes. All-rounder. Natarajan, perfect. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Siraj, Prasidh Krishna and Shardul Thakur, perfect. So except number 3 from the top, everyone is deserving. And let's see what could be the team for tomorrow. Remember, the players are not invested in this format. This format is like being caught in the like being caught between the rock and the hard place, or as the Hindi proverb goes, whatever the proverb is. So what will be my 11? I will once again do what happened in the last match. I will open with Kohli and Rohit. I am going to take that gamble. I know it may not happen, but I'm going to do that. It's going to be a perfect gamble, right? And then there comes the situation of number 3. I'll give it to Surya Kumar Yadav. Sees how we adjust from 20 overs to 50 overs, right? Number 4. Now it's a shootout between Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant and Rahul. Yes, Rahul did not get a chance. I would give a break to Rishabh Pant and have Rahul as my wicket keeper for this match and see if he can perform. Iyer at number 5. Perfect. And I would give chance to both the Pandya brothers, HP and KP. So that makes it Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rahul, Iyer, HP and KP. That's 6. And then of course I would give a chance to, well, let's see. So these are the 7 players: Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Sky, Rahul, Iyer, HP and KP. And then I would give a chance to Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Shardul Thakur, Siraj or Krishna, and one between Kuldeep and Chahal, and this time it would be KY. So this is my team for tomorrow. Even if the players are caught between the rock and the hard place, I would still go with this team. Yes, a few players miss out, but then there's always a chance in the next match. And since there are only 3 matches and the attitude towards this format is like there's still time, we are focused on the 20 over, so I don't see any difference between the 20 over and the 50 over format. In fact, the 20 over format is a mini me of the 50 over format, if you understand the concept of mini me. But before we go further, let's take a short break. Welcome back after the break. Let's continue the discussion for tomorrow's match and why this 11. There is no need to justify. When I make the team, that's the team. So let's repeat the team once again. Kohli and Rohit as the openers, Surya Kumar Yadav at number 3, Rahul as the wicketkeeper, Iyer, Hardik Pandya at number 6, Kunal Pandya at number 7. Then the bowlers and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Shardul Thakur, one between Siraj and Krishna and Kuldeep Yadav. Perfect team, batting till number 9 and 6 bowlers. And those who don't get a chance can get a chance in the other matches. Let's take a short break. Welcome back after the break. Is there something missing in this episode? Of course, it's missing. It's song time. Let's begin. Yesterday, all my troubles seemed so far away. Now it looks as though they are here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday comes suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Now there's a surprise for my listeners. It's time for the reading section. H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. The time traveler, for it will be convenient to speak of him, was expounding a recondite matter to us. His grey eyes shone and twinkled, and his usually pale face was flushed and animated. The fire burned brightly, and the soft radiance of the incandescent lights in the lilies of silver caught the bubbles that flashed and passed in our glasses. Our chairs, being his patents, embraced and caressed us rather than submitted to be sat upon, and there was that luxurious after dinner atmosphere when thought roams gracefully free of the trammels of precision, and he put to it us in this way, marking the points with a lean forefinger, as we sat and lazily admired his earnestness over this new paradox as we thought it, and his fecundity. You must follow me carefully. I shall have to convert one or two ideas that are almost universally accepted. The geometry, for instance, they taught you at school is founded on a misconception. Is it not that rather a large thing to expect us to begin upon, said Philby, an argumentative person with red hair? I do not mean to ask you to accept anything without reasonable ground for it. You will soon admit as much as I need from you. You know, of course, that a mathematical line, a line of thickness nil, has no real existence. They taught you that neither has a mathematical plane. These things are mere abstractions. Before we go further, let's take a short break. welcome back after the break. Let's continue reading. That is all right, said the psychologist. Nor having only length, breadth, and thickness can a cube have a real existence. There I object, said Philby. Of course, a solid body may exist, all real things, so most people think. But wait a minute, can an instantaneous cube exist? Don't Philby became pensive. Clearly, the time traveler proceeded. Any real body must have extension in four directions. It must have length, breadth, thickness, and duration. But through a natural infirmity of the flesh, which I will explain to you in a moment, we incline to overlook this fact. There are really four dimensions, three which we call the planes of space, and a fourth, time. There is, however, a tendency to draw an unreal distinction between the former three dimensions and the latter because it happens that our consciousness moves intermittently in one direction along the ladder from beginning to the end of our lives. Let's take a short break. Let's continue reading. That said a very young man making spasmodic efforts to relight his cigar over the lamp. That very clear indeed. Now it is remarkable that this is so extensively overlooked, continued the time traveler with a slight accession of cheerfulness. Really, this is what is meant by the fourth dimension. Though some people who talk about the fourth dimension do not know what they mean. It is only another way of looking at time. There is no difference between time and any of the three dimensions of space except that our consciousness moves along with it. But some foolish people have got hold of the wrong side of that idea. You have all heard what they have to say about this fourth dimension. This ends episode number 341 on the 22nd of March 2021 of India's only digital radio talk show as the countdown to the 350th episode begins from today.
For more awesome content, tune in to the next episode of the weekly show with Aditya.